All right. This video will be about LO1 learning target, all right, which talks all about inductive and deductive reasoning. Don't forget on your notes to put your name, not my name, your period, and the date. These notes were done on 8/8 or 8/9. So 8/8 was a Wednesday and 8/9 was a Thursday. Okay, so inductive versus deductive. Take about a couple seconds to read through each of the examples and decide what do you think the difference is. So this is a think bubble. It's a chance for you to take a moment to just process the information and to write a thought down. And it can be anything. It can be the correct answer. It could be wrong. It could be just something weird. It could be anything like one has an I and the other a D, right? It's a think bubble, so you should know not to trust, essentially, whatever you put in there. So hopefully you had time to sort of process the ideas, all right? Now, inductive reasoning, the official answer, is that it uses events to make generalizations. Now, events are usually observations or patterns. So, for example, all swans we have seen, so we know that it's an observation, right? I've noticed, that's an observation. And in the end, they always make it more general. So the fact that they saw one swan that was white, therefore all swans are white. It's very general, okay? They notice that every time they kick the ball up, it comes back down. So the next time it's going to happen, right? It's just going to happen over and over again. They just made a generalization. Deductive reasoning is sort of the opposite. Instead of using specific events, they use generalizations to make specific conclusions. So this one goes specific to general, while this one goes the opposite way. It goes general to specific. So that's a really key point, is to notice that in the end you always end up more specific, right? So dogs are mammals, general fact, right? So this one uses a lot of facts, rules, and laws, because those are generalizations that people have proved, all right? So all dogs are mammals, generalization. Mammals have kidneys, generalization. Therefore, you connect the two pieces to have dogs have kidneys. Not just any animal, a specific animal. All right, same here. Men are mortal, general. Socrates is a man, that's a fact, right? Therefore, Socrates is mortal. So not just any man is mortal now. Now we've specified that Socrates is mortal. Okay, so now I'm going to do some examples. All right, I do is usually the teacher example, while we do is we usually do it as a whole class, and you do is just the student. So that one's always your job. Okay, let me see. Down here it says student. Okay, so start with the teacher, that's mine. All right, I'm going to decide what type of reasoning to use. Okay, now George said, I was watching Mark do free throws, so he noticed this word, watching, all right, and he made 75% of the shots he took. Therefore, he will make 75% of the shots in the game. Now, I know this one is inductive, all right? I had two clues, I underlined them. The first one was the word watching, all right, because this is an observation, right? The word watching implies that he saw something, right? What did he see? He saw that the kid did 75% of the shots he took, right? But then using that observation, he made a generalization. He claims that because the kid did it once, he's going to do it every single time. Okay? The next example says, this is one Edward said, Coach told me they made a new rule that you have to have at least 12 people on the team. We only have 11 if the doctor doesn't let Marco play. So we don't have enough people to play the game. All right? Now I know this one is deductive. The reason I know it's deductive is because, first of all, he's using a rule. And remember that deductive tends to use rules, right? My other clue is how he ended. He said, we don't have enough people to play the game. This is a specific conclusion, right? In fact, it's a conclusion about his team playing the game tomorrow. Not just any team, not just any game. His team is going to play the game. So he took a general rule that applied to everyone and made it specific to his team. Okay, so that's inductive versus deductive. Now, if you look at the we do, all right, we are looking for which person justified themselves, right, explained themselves the most specifically, all right, about the statement above. So the statement says, every party that I have been to has had red punch. So I believe all parties will have red punch. Okay, now Martha thinks that's inductive, all right. The reason she thinks that it's inductive is because she says that the reason for the choice was a generalization and the conclusion was specific. Your second choice would be Perry. Perry also thinks it's inductive, but he says it's because the first part was an observation. All right. Juan also claims it's inductive, so it looks like everyone agrees that it's inductive because Juan claims that he used an event in their life to make a generalization about all parties. So take 5 seconds to decide which one would you pick and circle it. All right, now hopefully you did not pick Martha. All right, Martha was wrong completely because Martha used the definition of deductive but then claimed that it was inductive. So we know Martha's not right? Now, Perry and Juan are both correct, but Juan's is better because Perry only gives half an answer, right? He's correct in the fact that the statement uses an observation, but you always want to make sure to look at how the statement ends. What's the conclusion of the statement? Because the conclusion needs to be a generalization, which is what Juan talks about. So Perry only gave half an answer. Okay? Now before we end, don't forget, adding a little color to your notes can always make it make it easier to look at. So the key today was to learn about inductive reasoning. And remember that this is inductive reasoning, while this one, the other one, deductive reasoning, was this one. And the key is to remember that this is what it tends to use. So I'm just going to kind of make these stand out so that the next time I look at my notes, I know to focus there. All right? Now, the last step is for you to attempt one yourself. All right? Now, I want you to look at this opinion, all right, and to justify what type of reasoning that you use. So your choices, remember, are inductive or deductive. Okay? The opinion says, the Bill of Rights states that we have the right to bear arms. Therefore, my uncle has the right to own a gun. So I'm going to give you about 20 seconds to try to work on that one. All right, so hopefully you had enough time to at least decide between inductive and deductive. All right, the answer, all right, is deductive reasoning. Okay, the reason it's inductive reasoning, right, is because The opinion uses a law, right? This, oops, is a law. Oh, my W has too many little curlies. That's okay. All right, uses a law, and the conclusion is specifically about their uncle, right? My uncle. That's specific, not just any uncle, my uncle. So that is, in fact, deductive reasoning. And start practicing using complete sentences, right? I mean, you're a human being. You want to be able to express yourself, which is why a big focus of this particular subject is that standard for mathematical practice number 3, which is all about constructing arguments and critiquing other arguments. That's what you just did. You critiqued this argument. So congratulations, you just finished notes LO1.